All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host for this morning's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage. And we're definitely happy and grateful for each and every one of you being here with us this morning as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we can take advantage of in the Forex market. So without further ado, let's make sure that we any and all distractions. Grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage on this Friday. If everybody can hear me loud and clear, do me a huge favor. Drop me a 1 in the chat. Let me know my microphone is working and that we are all ready to go. All right. So let's make sure that we start out each and every morning with the Forex Trade Room Foundation, making sure that we are taking massive action, meaning that we are accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome. Let's make sure that we center ourselves in body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading. Let's be sure to continue to trust in our education, strategy, trading skills, and intuition. We always want to imagine our trade successfully materializing. We want to make sure that we obey our trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear. And we want to make sure that we are never looking back or stopping once our trade has commenced. So hope everybody has had a great week so far. Jeremy, good morning to you. I am doing well, sir. I hope you are doing quite well, right? Quite well across the pond. So always good to see you, right? And hear from you. So here we go. Let's jump into it. Going to trading economics, right? So we see Japan inflation rate hits a 4-month low, right? And I think we got yeah, we've got a rally on the Nikkei as a result. But so Japan's annual inflation rate edged down to 3.6% in March 2025 from 3.7% in February, marking the lowest print since November. Prices of electricity and gas eased further amid government energy subsidies. However, the core inflation rate rose to 3.2% from 3%, in line with estimates as rice prices rose the most in 50 years amid poor harvest, rising consumption, and panic buying after a mega quake warning. Right, so we have to continue to watch to see what happens there. Right, and as a result, we see the Nikkei 225 index jumped 1.03% to close 34,730, while the broader topics index rallied 1.14% to 2559 on Friday, extending gains from the previous session amid hopes that ongoing trade talks between the U.S. and Japan will lead to tariff concessions. Earlier this week, Japanese Economy Minister Ryozi Akazawa, maybe, told reporters that Trump said getting a deal with Japan is a top priority. On the economic front, fresh data showed that Japan's headline inflation eased to a 4-month low to 3.6% in March, while core inflation accelerated as expected at 3.2%. Looking ahead, markets are focused on the Bank of Japan's policy meeting next week. The central bank is widely expected to keep interest rates steady at 0.5% and may revise its growth outlook downward in light of potential tariff impacts. In corporate news, Shanghai, maybe pharmaceuticals surged 17.5%. Wow. After the drug it developed with Eli Lilly for losing weight shows similar performances as Ozempic. Wow, 17%. All right. So it pays to have knowledge and gain an understanding, right, of some of these international companies, right? 17.5%. Right. So that was huge. That's got the market moving, for that particular stock. So that's big. Wow. I'll have to look up that symbol. Um, and it developed it with Eli Lilly. So we'll see. But that's the news with Japan in regards to um, the the dollar index. The U.S. dollar held steady against major currencies on Friday as trading activity remained subdued, with most global markets closed for Good Friday, right? So it's a holiday, right? Low volumes, cap movement, keeping the greenback near 3-year lows. The dollar has come under pressure amid concerns about economic fallout from tariffs and increasing policy uncertainty under Trump. So we talked about Japan and Italy. Uh, so trade talks with Japan and also Italy. Okay. So Italy's in the mix. Trump also indicated a possible de-escalation of trade tensions with China, stating he does not want tariffs to rise further and may even consider reducing them at some point. Meanwhile, Trump criticized Fair Trade Powell for being too slow to cut rates and suggesting his removal can't come quickly enough. On Wednesday, Powell said the president is cautiously monitoring. Powell said the Fed is cautiously monitoring the impact of tariffs before acting. On the economic front, jobless claims fell to a 2-month low amid a strong labor market. All right. So Trump is, again, just like he did in his first term, criticizing Jerome Powell. Um, Somebody out there, right? Reese, anybody. If you know, maybe you don't. Legally, right? Uh, can President Trump fire Jerome Powell? Does anybody know? Nope. Right. Nope. No, he can't. But these days, I guess you can't put anything past him because they don't seem to be following the rule of law too good. But technically, no. So we'll see. We'll see how that continues to unfold. If he was to fire Jerome Powell, the market would tank. It would tank. Right. So we'll continue to keep it. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. Look at gold, right? Gold fell below 33.30 on Thursday. As investors took profits after the bullion reached a record high earlier in the session, driven by demand for safe haven assets amid continued uncertainty in U.S. trade policy. Market focus has been on the ever-shifting tariff headlines of Trump administration, potential tariffs on semiconductor and pharmaceutical imports by initiating trade probes shortly after signaling a possible delay to existing auto tariffs and suspending levies on some tech products from reciprocal duties. Um, so we know just about everything else, right? So it's one thing one day, then it changes, right? So here's some things that are more steady for us, right? The ECB cut all three of its key interest rate by 25 basis points, lowering the main refinancing rate to 2.4%, the deposit rate to 2.25%, and the marginal lending facility to 2.65% as expected. The decision reflects growing confidence that inflation is on track to return to sustainability to the 2% target. That's pretty good. Both headline and core inflation have continued to ease with services inflation cooling. Wage growth is moderating, right? So we know for the longest time, one of the drivers of inflation, right, is wages were so sticky, right? And that was pretty much everywhere. And firms are absorbing some of the cost pressure. However, risks to the euro area outlook remain, especially due to rising global trade tensions, which are hurting confidence and tightening financial conditions. The ECB acknowledged that growth prospects have weakened and emphasized a data-dependent approach going forward. It made no commitment to further cuts. Okay, underline that future decisions will depend on economic data, inflation dynamics, and the strength of monetary transmission. All right, so that's straight from the ECB. All right. Doesn't care if the markets get hit. Yeah, he doesn't care at all. He doesn't care at all, and that's true. It's just about himself and his agenda, you know. And it's really is really tying up the markets, right? So let's take a look at not a ton. There's not a ton out there. So anything that you guys want to take a look at, drop it in the chat. We'll definitely check it out right out the gate. But you can see here where the dollar is just eh, just there, right? We were talking about it yesterday. There's 98, 97 levels holding above there. We know anytime that that dollar gets, you know, below 100, typically in the past doesn't like to stay there too long. But it's kind of just settling, right around 98, 97 support level. That's it. Not a whole lot to say about it, right? And yeah, Jeremy, want to take a look at gold? We'll do that for sure. But look at us just moving sideways on the dollar now. And would it be a good Friday holiday, low volumes? You know, I don't anticipate unless something crazy happens, right? I don't anticipate too much today. But one of the things that I'm gonna do this weekend is really, you know, uh redraw my charts, redraw my levels um on these assets, and then go from there. Because at some point over time, even though we know that it could be a surprise, that could be a quick message sent through True Social or something on X or whatever, the market starts to adapt to whatever's going on, and things get back moving, right? The show must go on, as they say. Um, so, you know, yeah, I think we're approaching that point, where it's like, okay, these are the conditions. Let's see what money could be made, So we'll see. We'll see. S&P, can you look at S&P financial? What's that? What is Joy? Indices too. Yeah, we'll take a look at the indices.
The S&P find the I don't remember if it was XLF or XLE, but I was hearing yesterday.
Oh, you're talking about the spider, the
Yeah,
ETFs?
yeah.
Okay.
They said that's probably about the only thing that's going to be moving right now between that and healthcare.
Yeah, and I actually, what was that a while ago uh in our community, I had posted a portfolio that I was working on. And it included, let me see, right here, right? So you can see like J&J was stock like a combination, but I had the XLP, um, yeah, XLF, the financial sector, yeah, yep. And then you said what else? The pharmaceuticals, right? Like
Just
healthcare.
just healthcare in
Yeah,
general.
healthcare.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't have it initial, but I had one that was strictly uh ETFs, and I did have that in there. I had that also because you're right. Um, you're spot on with that because I had my niece is actually this is her senior year in high school, and they're actually doing a stock trading competition project, and we had XLP, XLF, uh, they're actually up right now too. We had gold. And then I forget what I had. I can't remember what it was. I think it was more short-term bonds that I had put in there because it was funny. They had picked just a bunch of random stuff like Monster energy drinks. They had picked, stuff that they actually some of them was good, like Netflix. They had Netflix in there, which was good because the Netflix is doing well. But they had a bunch of random stuff, but they didn't have any type of defensive positions, right? Because they just don't know. But we did use some of those spider ETFs that you're talking about in there. So they're doing really well right now on their project. So fun project for high school seniors. I wish more schools did it with their students. Gold and oil indices too. Yeah, can you look at S&P? Yeah. to his official tyrant. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So let's look at that gold, right? On the commodities front. We were taking a look at it on the four hour yesterday. And kind of looking for a correction to see if there's going to be any more profit taken, but this is our 4 hour look here. Right. So I love to see a pullback, but you can see our stochastic, at 4 hours kind of made its way back down towards the buy zone. I definitely look forward to remain bullish, but I would like to see a correction. Right? Like to see a correction. If you hold it, there's no reason to get out of it. No reason to get out of it. It's a good asset to hold. If we go back up to the daily, right? We know that, let's see, right? We just kept accelerating off that level that we were watching. And so I expect that to hit that D extension here soon at what's that 33.78. Like it only made a modest correction. Then once we got above that 31.67 level, it was just gone. Right. So that's where we are on gold. Still bullish. Lower time frame. If we can get a correction, that would be great. We may not get it though until after we hit that 33.78 level on the daily. But if we do, that'll be a good opportunity to buy it back up to that level. All right. So we'll see what happens first. So that's where we are on gold. Any questions on that?
Can you check the 15 minutes?
What'd you say?
Can you check the 15 minutes for me?
Oh,
Last night.
yeah. Okay. Let's check the 15. Okay. Yeah. So you got spotted this? You're long?
Run the fib down from the 80-20
Oh,
zone.
running fill down to 80-20. Okay. So you guys are running from the top. Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that may what direction were you trying to take this setup?
To B to C to D of the sub fib.
Oh, off this C to D to the upside or to the downside?
To the downside, and
Oh,
I
to the
was tracking
downside?
it. Yeah, I was tracking it
Oh,
from the 1 hour.
oh, okay. So you think it's gonna that was a beautiful 80-20 there. I don't know if anybody spotted that, but that was nice on the 15. Uh we'll see. It depends on like on that. You said you played it? Great work. Great work. Yeah, I know some of you play around, on those lower time frames. You seen the YouTube? All right. Nice. Nice. Yeah, that's a nice correction. So Jeremy, like that's like we just said on that, looking at that higher time frame, it just depends on if it wants to chase that daily D extension level before or after the correction, right? Because on the 4, you know, I want to see it correct, to a lower price, but it might not do it before it pushes higher. So we'll see. I don't know how much it'll move today, would it be a Good Friday or not. But it
O-
could
Oil and
go
gold,
ahead.
and high end EFTs are closed for the day because I was
Oh
trying to
yeah.
put them
Oh
on my
yeah. It's just
screen.
closed period.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just closed period. That's true. That's true. Yeah, so we're not gonna get anything. So you got
My
80-20 sell on the 4
m-
too.
my
Go ahead, Joy.
question
I'm
is,
sorry.
I'm sorry. My question is, will it gap because of this 3-day weekend?
I don't know if it's closed. It might. I don't know. I guess that's an interesting question. Probably if it's just shut down period, I don't know because there's nothing. nothing going on or nothing moving, right? I don't know. It's a good question on that, but I definitely like I said, I definitely see it continuing to move higher. It just depends on if it wants to make a deeper if there's going to be more profit taking, right? Because we know that people aren't really coming out of gold. Just it's at a high price, it hit a record high, it's making a correction. Just depends on how deep it wants to go. But this setup is interesting, on this 15. So you got a 80-20 sell on the 4. Is that on Reese, is that on gold? Is you talking about? Yep. Yeah, I mean on the 4, we've got a right. That's off this setup here, right? On the 4. But if you come out uh off the sub, right? But when you look at how, off that capital fib, when you run it, right? So that's your capital fib there. This is your capital from way back when, right? Off the 4. That sub fib off that low, right? This is that low that we caught off the trend line, right? And off that higher time frame, 50 off the daily. So I see why some of you are running it like that. But if you look at both fit, you got a new AB boundary, you got an 80-20 on that sub if you're running it just off that low, right? So yes, there's a possibility for that to run deeper. I mean, off of my capital fib that I ran from way back in time, up until now, I would want to see a correction, right? So whether it's off this 80-20 off the sub that some of you have drawn, right? Or off this B boundary, I would love to see it correct. But it's been such an intense move to the upside. You kind of call into question like, man, how much profit taking is going to be. That's kind of how we ran into that situation, right? If we go back up to the daily, right? And when we were looking at this level here, we were just like, man, it's such a major risk off situation. People are piling into it, right? Long on gold. I don't know if it's you know, gonna move past that 50 and push for a deeper correction. And we were right? It stalled and it kept moving. So you could kind of be looking at the same situation, you know, here is maybe it chases. Let me go back up to the daily real fast. So we're really nearing this daily 1.618 extension. So if we come back down to the 4, right? You're just in that, see how close that is? You're just in a situation like, man, does it push just a little bit higher first? So on that 15-minute, you know, it may continue to push higher before ultimately making that correction. And that's just a difference in time frames, right? So we may push higher and then make a correction. So this sub fib 80-20 could still play out without hitting at the extension, right? At 34.15. Right. So it's just and then there's that capital bid there. Right? So you can see even with this capital fib, that's not too much higher off that B boundary to where we can see that correction. So it's kind of up in there. It's one of those ones, yeah, revised to continue long. Oh yeah. Oh, because the US will not be utilized. Yeah, I agree with you, Joy. I mean, listen. it's been long for a year and 4 months, pretty much. Right. And when you look at uh what am I thinking about here? The commitment of traders reports, they've been sitting long in gold for a very long time. Right. This is something that's been steady. So, understanding fundamentals, you know, taking a global macro approach to, when it comes to, economics, overall fundamentals, it helps you because in times where there's a lot of uncertainty, if you're patient and you're not so anxious to trade all the time, you could like to be in and out, you could still be making money. Like gold has been steadily moving to the upside. Like there's still positions in the market that just make total sense. Now, you're not going to be in a ton of trades, right? You might only be in a few, but you're still enable yourself to make money during turbulent times, right? So it's like I don't have to be in you know 20 different trades. Maybe I'm just sitting in gold versus the dollar. Maybe I'm taking an ETF. Maybe I'm trading, GLD or one of the gold ETFs. You guys get what I'm saying? Drop me a one in the chat. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like you just ride that out. Like, okay, well, this is this is where the money is right now. And I get it. I mean, to me, it's always been fun, finding setups and trading and things like that. But it's like, hey, right now, this is what's rocking. This is what's making me the money. Like I was watching one trader on YouTube and doing the Trump when he made the announcement, it's a good time to buy and the market spiked and all that, and the market manipulation, the whole thing. Uh, one trader made, I think it was $79,000, but he was like it was about his best single day ever. But you know what his yearly P&L was so far? It was like his profit so far, because you're like, man, he made 79,000, close to $80,000. But his profit for this year so far, and he has a super large account, is $19,000. So he was getting buried, right? He was getting like he was in the red before that big day. So sometimes, right, it's just if you wanna save yourself all of that emotional, distress, sometimes it's just better to sit and wait. Or hey, just this is the asset that's moving right now. That's what I'm gonna focus on. Yep. Yep, Reese. Like, and that happens a lot of times 'cause it's just like we feel the need, like, man, I gotta be in the market, I gotta have my money moving. But sometimes that can bite you. And I love Trader Nick, man. I followed him for a long time, and just how he's developed his company and his software and stuff like that. So I give props to anybody that's in the game, right? In the game, whether you winning or losing, like you're in the game. So yeah, his channel is awesome, man. Straight up guy. So that's where we that's where we are. On gold. Okay. Oil, right? Continue to make this is that 4 hour 80/20, right? So we hit that 382. Okay. We hit that daily D extension, right? That huge drop off. And now we hit that 80/20 zone. Look, we pulled back, corrected, tested that bullish candle, you know, and there we go, right? 382. And we'll see if we can get to 61.8. Joy, anybody, somebody give me the scoop on gold. Anything I mean on oil.
Other than what I post yesterday, basically it's I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna pull back some, but I think it's gonna just stagnate a little bit because of the issues that they having with Iran. But then at the same time, with the supply, we have an oversupply of gas, so it's a conflicting information going out there about supply and demand, whether we're overstocked or it's just not that much demand because what's going on with China.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, I was
I
trying to get my
gotcha.
thoughts out because that was the last thing I had read last night. And that's the reason why once that had hit, they started circling that rumor that China was going to sell off their US debts, meaning that they was going to get rid of all their US mortgage securities and sell it off.
Saw those articles and stuff in the in the communities.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that was major. I appreciate that data. That was man, all types of back and forth. So they hold pretty firm. We'll see what gets worked out. But it's a mess right now. Uh bunch of chaos. All right, so we'll see if it continues. Right, we're approaching that 200, right? We're approaching that 200. Here's the bottom line. It's been bearish, right? We hit a daily D extension. We're correcting right now, right? So we're coming up against this 200. We're pushing into the sell zone, right? So that 80-20. So we're in a down retracement zone, right? So that's making money to the upside right now, but let's continue to watch the developments. Here's the daily here, right? So you look at this daily, we're below the 50, below your 200, below your cloud. Our stochastic is moving back up. So let's see what happens as we push higher in our zone. But that was a good play to the upside, identifying that technical sweet spot. Words of wisdom, valuable insights for listening successful traders. Yeah, that was pretty good. That one's pretty good. I like which one was it that I like more? Like, cause I like listening to the old, like the, what was it, man? Like a lot of like investors and things like that. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but there's one that I listen to that's really, really good where they have like your major, investment bankers and things like that. I didn't see the one with Linda Raschke, but I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot over the years with her. There was one that was it Linda Raschke or it was Linda Raschke. One that my man from IM Academy, Christopher Terry used to be real close to in his training days. I want to say it was Linda Raschke, but I think it was her or some other lady that he was he was real close connected with in the trade game in the financial markets through his wife, I believe. Oh yeah, it was her. Yeah, yeah, that was her, Linda Raschke. Because this is another one that I lady that's big in the trade game that I follow as well. I hadn't seen what she's been up to in a while, but I can't remember her name. I had to get you guys on, put you guys on with her too. But yeah, I didn't see that. Is that a new one with Linda Raschke, Reese? I've listened to several over the years from her. A couple weeks ago. Yeah, I have to check it out. It's good, man. When you're in that when you're in the trade game, community is good, like what we have, and then because everybody the majority of people don't understand what you go through as a trader, or the type of environment that you're in. Like, you want to, listen to and speak to and, be in community with people who speak your language. So, because sometimes I'm talking to folks, family members and things, and they're like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Right. So, a couple weeks ago, oh, thanks for posting that. I have to check that out for sure. But all that's good, man. That keeps your head in the game, right? Keeps you fully immersed in the environment. Yep. Silver. All right. Continue to push, right? We got a 382. This is on the daily, but off this leg right here, right? We kind of continue to move higher, right? And it doesn't surprise me, right? When you look at, you know, uh, safe havens, things like that, commodity prices, all everything that's going on with tariffs, everything, man, like that money is being parked, right? In some of these different assets. So off that low, right? At least in the short term, off this low, right? We're moving bullish, right? But we don't have that's a 236. It may continue to push from there, but of course we want to see that move lower in the zone, right? If we stay disciplined on how we trade, we want to see that move, you know, lower. If we're just looking at this impulse leg to the upside off that low, we would want to see that move lower in our zone before we made a decision, right? So that's where we are on silver. Nat gas. Right. Okay. We know the season that we're in. You know what's going on. Joy just made mention of some things. And right, we're at that 118, 120 zone. So we're at that. We were talking about this 3176 level, and we're kind of stalling out. Right. So get your additional confirmations ready to see if we at least get a correction. Now due to the season, right? Hey, we may continue down eventually, but if we can make a move off this pullback, to the upside, it is in our zone that we like to trade on the counter trend move, right? So we'll see what happens there. But right now, not getting a whole lot. But we know we typically see that, right? We typically see that when we get to this level, and we've got a weekly support level in that zone, right? So just continue to keep an eye there. Copper, right? Our 80-20 on the one. Right? We've hit TP2. We're at a 61.8. Let's continue to watch it. It's struggling at that level. Right? It's struggling. Let's see what happens. It's moving. It's a bit sideways now. But that 80-20 played out. That correction to the upside was beautiful, right? Beautiful. Got close to that extension. Did not hit, and we got the swing on copper. All right, so we'll continue to say we may get a boost from Louisiana Plant LNG transportation. All right, tell me a little bit more about that, Joy.
So that was the plant that I had shared last month. It's a new
Yep.
gas plant. So that last move to the upside that we had was due to some tanks coming in to get filled. And then once they leave, I believe that's probably we might see a push up. But then because the seasonality is, a bearish outlook.
Yeah. So it just may be a temporary move to
Yes.
the upside. Appreciate the update on that. You guys are crushing it with the fundamentals, right? They matter. They matter. Right? They matter. They definitely give you an edge in the game. So that's where we are. Let's take a look at some indices, and we'll wrap things up on what is going to be a slow day in the market. Take a look at this UCAD real quick though, and you can see it's kind of just stalling right at that level, still stalling. But that's got some potential. That's got some potential. So we'll continue to watch that to the upside. Mm. Anytime it's just moving sideways like that, you got shot. All right. So let's look at our S&P, right? Projected to the downside. and we turned over. And what did we say? We said, you know, you get this huge bullish candle. He said, hey, we can turn over. We're in our sell zone, but we can also move sideways, right? We talked about that. Like you could also see it just stall out. Why? Because everybody's like, what the heck is going on? Right? What is going on? Right? And all this back and forth. But we're clearly, right? This is your daily. You got that 50 crossing over that 200. You got a death cross going on. So we got a stochastic in a sell zone. So we're definitely looking bearish right now. Right? But this isn't giving us a whole lot. So if we drop down to the lower time frames, there's really not much there. You know, it's just we're trapped right now. And I mean today, it's Good Friday, so that's where we are. Um US 30, right? Now this here, right? That's moved a bit, right? To the downside. As a matter of fact, what was I? Let's see, let's see, let's see. The Dow, right? Tumbles 500 points, right? That tumbled 500 points. So that one's that one's pressing to the downside. 527 points or 1.33%. The 30 stock index is way down, 22% decline in United Health following the insurer's earnings miss. Both the Dow and the Nasdaq posted 3 days of losses. So we find the reason. That's what's amazing about the time we live in is the access to information, which I think so many people take for granted, right? Like you can find it now, right? This is the call, United Health, right? They missed earnings, so maybe tomorrow, let me write that down. Yeah, United Health. If I forget, somebody remind me. See if we can pull that up. See if we can pull that up and take a look at it. But yeah, they missed earnings. So we can see here that that's moving, right? To the downside. All right. So what we got going on here. On down to the 15. Right, to our 15-minute. Should we catch the right level? Right. So that's what that looks like on the 15. Of course, we want to see that push higher before we short. Right. Let's uh let's zoom out to a higher time frame on that. So, yeah, so it's gonna be this one here. Come here, that. There we go. So that's on its way down to the extension. That's a good setup there. US 30-minute. I don't know if anybody traded that short, but that's nice. That's a nice move. And we know why now, right? On the 30-minute. And take a look at the wow, that was a nice man, right at that weekly level too. On your 30. Man, that's nice. It's really, really nice. We'll come to the one. Is that right? Let me see. Man, that's from that chaotic move. Yeah, so similar look on the 1 hour. See if we catch that move, but so that's where we're going. Look for that to right now. Look for it to continue to the downside there. Beautiful double top. And so this is that 4 hour look there. Okay. So we'll see if we continue bearish on the US 30. So that was getting a little bit more movement, right? Because of that United Healthcare situation. Here we are on the NASDAQ, right? All looking the same. Right? Looking similar. Right? So still in that sell zone, still, right? Right. That crossover, that 50 and that 200. Still looking bearish right now. Stochastic in the sell zone. The Nikkei got a boost, right? So this is that 4 hour chart that we had drawn up. So we may see this push higher, right? So people who came a little late, right? Inflation rate hits a 4-year low, and we can see as a result, right? They rallied on trade optimism here as well. So it jumped over, a little over 1%. So we'll see if that continues to climb in the zone. But right now, I'm just looking at anything, you know, got that optimism. But right now, until things get figured out, with the tariff situation, we know that Japan and US, are supposedly in talks. But until some of that stuff shakes out, I'm looking at everything as moving to a potential high price and then moving back short until something changes, right? Something major changes and we get a shift. So we're looking at a correction right now. And if we get back, around our 200 and around our sell zone, we'll see from there uh, what's going to happen. All right. But just being cautious, right? Trying to do what makes sense. Right. But that was, right? We're tracking that because that was, you see that? We got our AB boundary on the 4 that hit that 80-20 zone and we reversed out. Right. So decent play there back to the upside. UK 100. Right. Pushing up. We're at 61.8. Somebody tell me, what do we think is gonna happen here with this UK 100? We're at a key level on the daily. Do we form a high and continue to fall? Or what's going on? Sell. What's up, Donut? Short it? That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. All right. So let's see if we form. Let's see. We could be patient from the daily. See if we form a swing high. Right. Okay. We don't have it yet. We go down to our 1. Okay. So we've taken these out a long time ago because of the deeper retracement on the daily. And let's see if we've got going on to the upside here. So that could continue to push higher, possibly. All right. So we can, but if you're looking off that daily and saying, I'm looking for the short, and we know we'll put up here, we've got a D extension here. Like that. We know we're at a 61.8 level on the daily. But if we're saying, you know what, my bias is short, then we'll let that, as long as we stay above. If you're looking at this from the 1 hour and you're saying my daily projection is short, we're at a key level on the daily. And you're going to say, I am bearish overall. Then we just draw this trend line and we see if eventually price starts to break down, right? Or if we push higher, okay? So that's how we'll do that. And then, maybe we continue to, move a little bit higher in the zone, right? But once we see one of these, right, that may activate us, to get into that trade for a time frame, see, like so. So no matter what level you watch it from, right? So that's that. Or if we go up, right, to our daily, okay, we go up to our daily and we form this swing high here, and we get that second candle, right? Something like that. Right? Then you say, you know what? You could play it like this too. Right? I'm just going to drop a position in it. Boom. Right? And I am going to trade it. Like so. So higher time frame move. You say, hey, I'm long-term bearish on this because of because of what's going on. And you put your stop above that A, like so. And you work your risk out. You divide your risk by your stop, and you short it. Right? So is it going to be a smaller position? Yes, but you're looking for that position to accumulate over time, right? And you can use your lower time frames to add to the position on the pullbacks. Some people will let that swing high form and they'll put their stop above the C. Right? Now we know you have a higher percentage chance of being stopped out, which is stop loss within the AB boundary, but it all works out in the wash. You just have to be consistent in what you do, right? Just can't be all over the place where you put your stop loss position, right? Or whatever your philosophy is in regards to where you want to locate that stop. So that's how you can play it. Okay, so multiple ways to skin a cat. Any questions on this UK 100?
No.
All right. And so the key is always, right? The magic in this group, right, is knowing what you're going to lose before you take that trade. All right. So regardless of where I put my stop above a C or above the A, or if I enter my initial trade off the daily, right, after swing high forms, or if I go down to the 4 hour or the 1 hour to enter a trade, guess what? Regardless of how my approach might be when it comes to that, my risk should be the same, right? If I'm risking 1%, I should know whether I'm trading this setup, if my bias is bearish and I'm trading short, whether I enter off of a 1 hour, a 15-minute, a 30-minute, a daily chart, 4 hour chart, I should know that if I'm risking 1%, that's what I'm going to lose. That's the beautiful thing, right? About understanding risk and risk management. Right. So if I'm on a 15-minute and it hits my stop, 1%. If I'm on a daily and it hits my stop, 1%. Right. Will there be a difference in the lot size that I trade or the number, or the number of shares that I can buy because of you know, where I'm positioned at stop and the time frame that I'm trading it off of, right? Yeah. But it's still at the end of the day, if it takes you out, it should be 1%. I can't say that enough. Or 2% or whatever you're risking, right? That shouldn't change. It shouldn't change. Okay. So that's where we are there. Taking a look at the GR30. Yeah, 2% rule. Right? Just hey. All right, we know that. We've covered so many things as far as risk in this group, 4 consecutive losses, all types of stuff that we've gone over in this group over the years, right? And how you can manage the risk. But you'll always be in the game if you master that. Right. And so here we are in this GR30. Right. We're in the area on this 4 hour, right? So if you're trading that 4 hour, you can see we didn't get a pull back there, right, in the past, but right, we got that boost, but look, here we are. So maybe you play this. Hey, if I get back below this 21,000 daily level, right? If we get back, see how it rejected it there? Well, if we press back down and we get below that, maybe I'm in the game. Yeah, done that. The death of every trader, managing risk. Yeah, yeah. And it's like, I mean, we're crazy if we think we're always going to be right. Right, right, right. Some people think they always have to be right in an environment where you don't have to be right all the time to be successful. It's crazy, right? Like I don't have to be right all the time, but you do have to manage your risk. You do have to manage that risk. So, you know, be a master of that above anything else. Okay. So this here, right? This little range, if it comes back down to reach, so 1, 2, right? Third time, if we break below that 21,104, we take a look at that time. It's like, man, the economic conditions continue to be, crazy, uncertain, right? Then we may continue to see this drop, right? So this is one to keep it. I would pay attention to that level there at 21,104 to see if we get a strong push and a break and a close below that level on the GR30 there. And then our Russell, similar, right? We're holding below that 1901. That's a monthly level, but it's just moving sideways. Look at your moving average going straight through price. It's just not a lot there. Not a lot there right now. Okay. So that's it. Any questions over anything that we covered today? No.
No.
All right. Look, don't force it. I know it's boring. Just, but Trey, like, just do what makes sense, guys. All right. Do what makes sense. All right. So that is it. Everybody enjoy your Friday, right? As we move into the weekend. See everybody tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the weekly ritual. Bye for now.
Thanks, Ben. Bye.